There's a strange category of plants sitting in a legal gray zone right now, plants so nutritious and resilient that they've fed desperate populations through famines and economic collapse, yet in various states you can be fined for planting or transporting them. These plants earned restricted status because they grow so aggressively that agricultural departments classify them as noxious weeds, capable of overtaking farmland if left unchecked. But the exact trait that makes them illegal in some places, their ability to survive drought, poor soil, and neglect while multiplying rapidly, is precisely what makes them extraordinary survival crops when food systems break down. Today I'm walking you through 5 of these restricted plants, the real laws behind each one, and the nutritional data that makes them worth knowing. Always check your specific state regulations before planting any of these, since laws vary significantly by jurisdiction. Let's get into it. Kudzu, scientifically Pueraria montana, was introduced to the United States deliberately, first displayed at the 1876 Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia, then aggressively promoted by the Soil Conservation Service during the 1930s as an erosion control crop, with the Civilian Conservation Corps planting over 1.2 million acres across the South, according to USDA historical records. The plant grew so explosively, up to 1 foot per day under ideal summer conditions, that by 1970, the USDA officially reclassified it as a noxious weed. Congress added Kudzu to the federal noxious weed list in 1998, and states including Florida and Alabama now restrict cultivating or transporting it. What most people miss is that Kudzu is almost completely edible. The starchy root, which can weigh over 200 pounds on mature plants, has been used for centuries in traditional Japanese cooking as kudzu starch, prized for its digestibility. The leaves can be cooked like spinach, and the plant's isoflavones have been studied at institutions including Harvard Medical School for cardiovascular benefits. Where legal to forage, harvest young leaves in spring and boil the root for at least an hour before mashing it into a paste similar to arrowroot starch. Water spinach, scientifically Ipomoea aquatica, presents one of the strangest legal contradictions here. This leafy green is a dietary staple across Vietnam and Thailand, commonly sold fresh in Asian grocery stores throughout America. Yet the USDA classifies it as a federal noxious weed because of its aggressive growth in warm, wet climates where it chokes waterways. States including Texas, Florida, Arizona, and Massachusetts prohibit cultivation without a special permit, often requiring containment in isolated ponds. The nutritional case is substantial. Food composition research shows water spinach contains notably high levels of vitamin A, vitamin C, and iron for a leafy green, and studies have documented its unusually fast growth cycle, with harvestable shoots ready in 3 to 4 weeks from planting, making it one of the fastest producing leafy vegetables available for repeated harvest. In a genuine food crisis, that rapid turnaround matters enormously. Where legal to grow, it thrives in containers with standing water or consistently moist beds, and you can harvest the top 6 to 8 inches repeatedly as it regrows from the base. Japanese knotweed, scientifically Renautria japonica, is one of the most legally restricted plants in the United Kingdom, where the Wildlife and Countryside Act of 1981 makes it a criminal offense to cause this plant to spread into the wild. In the United States, states including Vermont, New Hampshire, and Washington classify it as invasive with cultivation restrictions. The plant earned this reputation because its rhizomes can extend up to 23 feet horizontally and 7 feet deep, capable of growing through concrete foundations. But young knotweed shoots, harvested in early spring before they toughen, have a tart flavor similar to rhubarb and have been used in traditional Asian preparations for generations. More significantly, knotweed root is one of the richest natural sources of resveratrol, the same compound found in red wine, with research published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry documenting concentrations substantially higher than grape skins, making it a primary commercial source for resveratrol supplements. Where legal to harvest, young shoots under a foot tall can be peeled and cooked like rhubarb, but never attempt to transplant it given how destructive it is in most jurisdictions. Autumn olive, scientifically Elaeagnus umbellata, was introduced to the United States in the 1830s and promoted by soil conservation programs for erosion control, much like Kudzu's early history. By the 1980s, its aggressive spread led states including Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Wisconsin to formally ban the sale and planting of autumn olive. The berries this shrub produces contain remarkably high levels of lycopene, with research published in the Journal of Food Science documenting concentrations several times higher than fresh tomatoes per weight, along with notable amounts of vitamins A, C, and E. Beyond nutrition, autumn olive fixes atmospheric nitrogen in the soil through root nodule bacteria, actively improving surrounding soil fertility even as it's classified as invasive. In states where cultivation remains legal, autumn olive produces fruit reliably even in poor, dry soil, and a single mature shrub can yield over 15 pounds of berries annually. The berries can be eaten fresh once fully ripe, or processed into jams and preserves that concentrate their nutritional density. Canada thistle, scientifically Cirsium arvens, is classified as a noxious weed requiring mandatory control under state law in virtually every state, with agricultural departments legally requiring landowners to eliminate it rather than simply prohibiting cultivation. This aggressive perennial spreads through an underground root system capable of regenerating from fragments as small as an inch, according to university extension weed science programs. Despite its reputation, the young stems and leaves, harvested before flowering while still tender, have historically been consumed after peeling away the spiny outer layer, revealing a tender core comparable to celery, a practice documented among indigenous North American communities and European foraging traditions, with the globe artichoke itself being a cultivated relative. Given that Canada thistle control is legally mandated in most states, foraging existing wild populations rather than cultivating them makes both legal and practical sense, since you're harvesting a plant your local extension likely wants eliminated anyway. Always wear thick gloves given its spines, and confirm identification carefully before eating any wild forage. Each of these 5 plants tells the same story, resilience so dramatic that regulatory systems built around control classified them as threats rather than resources. In a genuine crisis where seed availability and soil quality become uncertain, that same resilience becomes exactly what keeps a household fed. If this opened your eyes to plants you'd never considered before, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment telling me which of these 5 surprised you most, and always verify your local regulations before planting anything discussed here.